Well, hello! I actually made it today. I'm so sorry. I'm so full of bullshit promises that I don't keep. But, that's me all over. I hope you're good. I haven't done any cam replacement or anything, so I'm sorry about that. I don't know whether I can fix that off the bat. I'll see what I can do. But yeah, I've got some cool things to show you. Right. First off, me paisley burst. I put strings on it. I gave it a setup. It looks and sounds wonderful. I'll play it for you in a bit. But it's a wicked Telecaster, an odd Telecaster. It's got the cutaway strings. I don't like this distress work, but never. Big shout out to Mark. Hope you're around. Looking forward to jamming with you, buddy. Malco, if you're here, I'd love to hear from you. And everyone should check out this channel, Malco Guitars, Malko. I'll stick it on my Facebook so you can see it. But let's warm up with a tune. I've been doing this here. I call it the White Snake tune, but it's not. I don't know what it is. It's White Snake-ish, I guess. Okay. Oh, we're going to have to give you a better camera position. This is rubbish. Okay, sorry, my living herbs. And they are actually herbs. I'm growing mint and dill on my windowsill. Stick these over here. Yeah, it's going to be a funny one today. I've got a few interesting plans for this stream. Hopefully it won't be the worst. It won't be the worst video I've ever done. Let's get this light levels down a bit. Okay, that gets the studio in a bit better, doesn't it? How's that? Down a bit more. How's that? Down a bit more. That's better, isn't it? You can see everything. You can see the pedal board and everything. Don't know if you saw my unboxing last time, but yeah, I got a compressor. I've been loving that. I don't use it very often. I'm not compression kills a lot of dynamics on most playing, but certain things that it does, and I have to say, chugging, doing that sort of, that sort of cruising chugging. Right, yeah, I'm loving it. Right, now then, I'm going to go to user patch number 0. This is actually a patch of a, let's see if anyone can guess. Hang on. Edit, global, volume, 74. Bit more beans. Good. Edit off, back to position, push the expression pedal back, kill the reverb. Does that sound alright? Yeah, now that's actually it's a model of a D's lamp with a tube screamer around into it. That's what it's a model of. Whether it's successful or not, really, that's up to you. Really, the listener. I think it is. I think all my models are successful. What made you want to listen to it? Do you want to hear my distortion signature tones? Because I use them all, and there's a logic to the madness. In fact, let's go down and right. So this, like I say, that's your diesel. Now this, you won't like this. This is the ultra modern. This is a metal core, okay, into a transistor Fender. That you won't like it. It's really only good for that, right? but it's great for that. Next, okay, this is Anthrax. Okay, this is a Friedman. Okay, this is Metallica. So obviously it's a boogie into a 75 watt per Celestion 4x12 Marshall. Now you might not think that sounds too different, but listen again. Back to Anthrax. Right. Back to Metallica. You get me right now. This is a JCM 800. This is my Adrian Smith, Dave Murray sound, right? And I think I'll use that one for this because I called it White Snake. I'll give it a title soon. The tune I just done called Epsilon Groove, which I'll show you in a minute. Epsilon Groove was called Bon Jove for ages. All of a sudden that reverb's there, and then it's not. And I love how silent it is, right? That's that little Vox pedal. Mark, I'm really glad you got the little bass one for 30 quid. I'm absolutely definitely going to get the bass version with the expression pedal on it. And I'm going to get the guitar one. And you see it? Can you see it there? You see it? You can just see the top of it. I'm going to get the guitar one like without the expression pedal. Also, as a desktop, like, you know, to sit by the recorder. Talk of the recorder, let's boot her up. I've got things to show you. So So biggest news, I guess, is I got my own steel string, electroacoustic. It's nothing much, but I want you to listen to this. This is nothing much. It's not a solid top, and it's a very, very basic electroacoustic. Very basic, passive. So, John, thank you so much for the power amp booster, because I would have had to have bought one otherwise. You're a fucking gentleman. Thank you so much. I mean, I think she's a great sounding guitar. I'll plug her in if you like. No doubt about it. It's a fucking great. So I've actually got a very special bit of acoustic backline, and what it is, Superchamp XD. It's got amp models. One of the models is an Acoustasonic. Careful never to use it when you got your electric plugged in, because it's like set for low impedance guitars. Oh my goodness, it sounds so good. John Stevens thought it was the best electroacoustic sound he'd ever heard in somebody's room. Like, you couldn't believe how good it sounded. And we worked it out. Yeah, well, it's a valve acoustic amp, isn't it? Yeah, it's a Class A valve acoustic amp, digitally preamp. Well, I'm not going to plug into that right now, because do you know what? I haven't even tried it out with this guitar yet, but what I am going to do is I'm going to plug in the Fender Deluxe 112, which is a wonderful, it's a solid state amp, it's a tranny amp, and it's from like my era. It's from when I started playing guitar, yeah, in 1990, and it's US built. So I've got two US built transistor amps, one from Fender. The Champ 110 is also an exceptional little chassis. It's a wonderful little amp. I use it every day. I was just using it a minute ago. Takes pedals really well. The Deluxe 112, I'm using it just because I've got Whatnot plugged into the other bit. So I haven't done any EQing. I don't know if you can tell. So this is without the amp. This is with the amp. And I haven't done any EQing. So, right, it's not a bad sounding bit of kit all in. The Deluxe 112 is a great transistor amp. It's actually quite beloved. I didn't realize, but it's got like quite a little cult following if you look at the Den of All Iniquities online. Anyway, I'm going to sup an Earl Grey to your health. Oh, Earl Grey with honey. So yeah, very pleased. I'm gig ready. It's a Dreadnought. No silly cutaways. No silly thin body nonsense. That's how I like it. I wish it was a parlor guitar. I loved that Yamaha, which did have cutaways and a silly thin body and plastic body. But what a wonderful guitar that is. you know, I'm gonna go to give it back. At the same time, it'll be a weight off my mind because I've been ever so worried that if anything happens to it, you know, it's an expensive guitar, 1992 Yamaha APX7 or AEX, I can't remember. But a lovely guitar. You'd have seen it on other videos, and it sounds like a parlor guitar. It's got that boxiness, that nice boxiness. I don't mean that as a criticism. And I like the parlor guitars for my style of finger picking, especially this stuff up the neck, right? You know, for that style of playing, which is, you know, what I'm about, the parlor guitar is ideal. It's got a very percussive nature. You know, you don't have like sustain killing you and making it muddy. I was having this conversation with someone online the other day. Wonderful chap, Malk, Scottish channel. Oh, I've already said that, but check out his channel, Mad Malk. I'll do it on Facebook. But, you know, I put sustain is the most overrated of qualities in a guitar, and I know that sounds like absolutely counter to everything that's ever been taught you as what's a good guitar sound. But realistically, how much sustain do you actually want? I mean, how long do you want a note to ring out? Now, think about this. One of the key ingredients that makes a chord sound good is focus, right? Focus. Now, when I go from the G to the C, it's really unhelpful when the G is still rolling around. You know, you want the G to end when the C is on. Now, with a guitar like a Les Paul, even with my cheap-ass copy, if it is indeed a cheap-ass copy, there's too much sustain in a lot of ways. You have to play to that strength, like as Malk pointed out, Gary Moore, you know, 1.5 minutes on a note or something, right? Parisian Walkways. But and all well and good, you know. It's not. I'm not against that. But it's like it's a tool in your toolbox. Now, you hit chord sometimes on a Les Paul. You got that massive body, that thick ass mahogany body with the maple cap, and you hit the chord, and you go to another one, and the other chord is still ringing around in the body, and it actually muffles the clarity. It makes it chaotic, makes the resonance chaotic instead of focused. And this is a very controversial thing to say. You know, it's probably not going to be appreciated. But I'm only talking about my beliefs. I'd never try and change the way you do things. I'll tell you about how I do things. This is my process. Really, because I spend a lot of time looking at how people do these sorts of things. I look at their process. It is fascinating to me how, say, just in like heavy metal, like, you know, proper death thrush core, how all of us arrive at quite the same sort of sound, but through so many different means of getting there. You know, everything from the bridge to you know, from being whammy or not, and then if it's a whammy, what sort of whammy, and if it's a, you know, if it's a hardtail, how is it done? Is it stringed through? Is it, you know, there's so much difference. You know, 24 frets, 21, like, you know, Strat scale, 20, you know, the 25.5, or the Les Paul 24 3/4. There's all, you know, fan fret. I mean, the world is so, and that's just guitars. That's not pedals. That's not amps. Guitar, amp, two important things. Pedals are relevant. Forget them for the minute. Pedals, amp. Like, the choice is baffling, okay? And it nearly always comes back to, you know, the basics. I mean, you know, most people that are really into tone are going to end up with a Telecaster and an AC30, inevitably. They're probably going to have a Les Paul type guitar and a Telecaster into an AC30. People that are really into tone gravitate towards that. Totally understandable. And that's been the way since pretty much the fucking beginning. It's not really moved forwards in terms of like what, guitar tone is achievable. Now, I love the AC30, love Telecasters, but that's not my sound. I like a far more compressed sound. I mean, amp compression, speaker compression, not pedal compression or studio compression. I'm not talking about that. A lot of front end gain. A real hammerhead. And I like to get my distortion from a pedal, and I like to put it in a really clean amp. That's how I found I do it best. But that's But if I was doing just solos, like pure, valve sound, small, like 20 watt the most, close to it with my pickups, like near it, so I can start playing with, the feedback harmonics. I love valve amps for their reactivity, but they're two totally different approaches. Now, going back to, so us, that play like thrash type music, there's so many different ways of doing it. And I find the whole process fascinating, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, is because I can only assume that other people are interested in the process and how you do things. Now I'll admit, a lot of it is, I'm restricted by budget, but even so, I still choose to do what I do with my money. This could all be like Hank Marvin Strats and, country Telecasters. Yeah? Do you get me? It could be all jazz guitars, but do you see what I mean? It's, even though I'm on like a tight budget, I'm still afforded the privilege of absolute choice into whether I want to go like heavy metal, do I want to go jazz? Do you get me? It's it makes not a lot of difference in that respect. So I'm not limited in my choices, only insofar as I have to be exceptionally shrewd and get bang for my buck, and I'm happy to do that. In fact, I'm very happy to do that. It's like I have to. I'm not a crap player. I'm a good player. And if people can get encouragement out of the fact that, I'm using quite entry-level gear, doing it with quite cheap gear, hopefully, people that like unnecessarily wish for a Taylor or, whatever, like, and they've got their little Squire and they were, I really wish I had a USA Fender, hopefully they can feel a bit more happy with what they've got. When they see us dudes, that are real players, or I would like to think so. I would like to think I'm a real player. Doing it with, their equipment. Because there's an awful lot of like peer pressure that comes through magazines and web forums and all that. It's a fucking 300 quid pickup set. It's a $2,500 guitar, and a lot of it's true, but a lot of it's utter rubbish. I've loved pretty much every guitar I've ever met, even the really bad ones. They are, they're still wood, still sacred. They still have something that they can do. Usually, not always. Usually. What do you want? What do you want? Go on, I'm busy. Go on. Barging into the live stream. That's Mia, the collie dog. She's a wonderful hound. But yeah, there's other people in the house, so like she's not gonna die need for a wee. She can hassle someone else. Don't worry. But yeah, no, it's to be honest, it's like I'm not really that limited in budget. It's just I can only do so many things at once. I've managed to get all the things I want. I'm really happy. It's been great. I remember like when I first arrived here at the New Forest, as I do now, I knew nobody. I still don't know anyone. But I found this shop with like guitars in the window. I went and then I had money in my pocket, and I thought, I'll have a little stroll. I actually had the dog with me. So I'll have a stroll, see if they've got a Telecaster, because that was kind of I arrived here with my 2 stage LTDs, Sheila and Meg, and the ESP Strat, and the non-working Telly that's on the wall. And put the studio together. All I really had is a recorder and a keyboard. and after being homeless all that time. And I thought, yeah, I want the studio voices. I want all the guitars for the studio. And straight away, that's Telecaster is one of the distinctive sounds in the guitar world. And I think the second most important guitar for me to have, the most important guitar for you to have. I have to have a bridge humbucker for that. I have to have that bridge humbucker. Anyway, yeah. And so, yeah, I've got like an SG or a Ibanez RG, anything really with a bridge humbucker. But then from there, I'm looking at the tonal palette, the voices for the studio, and the Telecaster is like the most distinctive, even more so than the Les Paul, which comes second, getting the Les Paul sound. And that was the first one I got. I went in to look for Telecaster. They didn't have, but they did have the Silverburst. And I've done so well to get a guitar, a workable guitar, a working blue collar guitar that can do the damn job in the studio, and actually have this box ticked already. The Les Paul box was like the difficult box to tick. I was going to get an LTD EC356. It's the Eclipse. It's the set neck. But it's very thin, and it's a great guitar, but it's not like even remotely like Les Paul, like in many respects. This is, and in many respects, and I was so lucky. To get this, and I spend time in that fucking biting bridge sound, terrible pickups, getting somebody sort me out with a wicked set of pickups, Kirk Hammett pickups. So it's going to have that flat ESP look. It's either that or a set that are out of a Jackson JS11 or something like that. Either or, to be honest. Just like I'm going to do a deal with the guy. I think he wants like a load of setups. But even with these fucking shit pickups, like it still sounds tremendous. It's got the classic ingredients, but I've gone on about this before. But I'm so lucky to get. So that was my first score. Went into the shop. That was the first one I got, and I walked home with this Silverburst and felt sort of guilty because I was spending this money. Now I do it every month. And then I was in hospital for a bit. Got out of hospital, and I went in. And again, I was specifically hoping there'd be a Telecaster there, and there was. And I got the black one that's in the window. That was in the window, and I got that. And what a wonderful guitar that is! It's got these weird pickups, these EMG things. EMG Axle by EMG, and but they're actually a nice sort of set of pickups, and this is a great guitar. They're quite low output, very, very clean. My favorite sound. Beautiful. I mean, I love the two pickup sound on the Telly. It's my secret weapon, like, back to the two pickup. Beautiful and round. I mean, you know, that thing I wrote not long ago. Oh, I've got a sound for that. Man, I love this sound. I love this sound. This is the favourite sound I have ever created in my life. I've just got to do it once. Oh, I love it. So anyway, yeah. So this was the second one, and I was specifically looking for a Telly. So that was a good day. I was ever so pleased with it. Come with a black scratch plate. I put this like awful cheap tortoiseshell one on, but it suits it lovely. So that was the second one. The third one was the Stag Nitro, which is a terrible cheap guitar, but I fucking adore it. I mean, I say it's a terrible cheap guitar. It's an alder body and a maple neck. That's actually in the specs. You know, you can look that up. And it's got these, you know, Invader copies on it. So yeah, I'm doing a few tweaks to it. I'm bringing out its character. I would never have put this checkerboard on it, but it's there. So like, you know, you can see I've done a couple of things to start bringing out its character. But this is, you know, a wonderful. Oh, I've played it already. It's a wonderful guitar. It's the best guitar in this room for doing like heavy metal, especially the 80s stuff, like that White Snake tune I was doing earlier, or the one I'm about to play you actually that I recorded, the Bon Jovi, and yeah, so 2 Telecasters in a row, and then, God blimey governor, a third Telecaster in a row. You know about this one, but yeah. So I've had this one completely apart. I've completely gone through this one, and it plays beautifully now. I mean, it plays like a serious guitar. And it's not. It's only a B and J, whatever it is, a blowjob. Was it J and D, okay? Jack and Danny or some shit. Never heard of them. But I'm telling you, only the neck is J and D. Nothing, not one bit of this guitar matches. Not one bit. And at some point, next time I do a string change, I'll whip the bridge off. And I'll show you this pickup, because it is as I assumed. It is as what my ears told me. It's a homemade Telly pickup. It's somebody has decided, probably before Duncan did, a stacked single coil for the Telly. Somebody decided to make one. It's a decent, and I don't know whether it is. I don't know what it is, but it's decent. Looking at the components. It's a stacked coil, so very noiseless, yeah? It's like really thick, but it's off of a Strat, as I suspected, like, and someone's actually, you know, cut out of copper, like the triangle shape, so you've got like, you know, the odd screw situation, which is unique to the Telecaster bridge pickup, and they've bodged it all together. You know, they've used like so, and it's like got it like a double potting. It's a real attempt at making something specific, and I understand what they did, and my ears told me, and then my eyes confirmed it. Very special thing. It's not crap. I've got to say, I'm not being defensive. It's just like, wow, somebody's done something here. I'm going to stick with it, because what they've done is really interesting. So it is really the sound of a Strat bridge pickup, but with that sort of extra bite and twang that you get from it being like this weird mount into the Telly bridge, like everything being connected microphonically. Could be disastrous, like on paper, but you know, it is, to me, one of the fundamental things that makes a Telly a Telly. So I'll do the neck pickup first. Bridge pickup. See what I mean? Now, don't tell me they haven't done something odd and special with the stack. They haven't done something in between or something in the phasing, because it's got that two coil sound. You get me? This is an interesting pickup, I'm telling you. Two pickup sound. Almost humbuckery, right? Wow. So what do you think of that? Is that the weirdest thing? So yeah, very pleased with this. I'm going to stick with this weird white pickup. I'm probably going to just stick with it because they've done something. It's like all the electronics are good quality. They've really made an effort here to do something, and I think it would be a shame. I was going to put a humbucker at the neck, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to leave it as is because I think they've actually built a special psychedelic guitar. I've got no idea. I've looked on the J&D website. I've gone right through every guitar they've ever built. Like, they've never done a guitar like this. Like, they've never done a Paisley burst that I can find. If any of you can tell me different, that'd be great. But I can't come across it. This is something interesting. You know, it's a wicked Paisley burst. You know, the Fender Paisley is like a very delicate finish. This is a really steady finish, and it's a burst. I called it a red Paisley at first, but it isn't. It's a Paisley burst. That is a Paisley burst. I'm not a fan of the distressing. You know, I like to get a nice spanking guitar and distress it myself by playing it. But yeah, you know, I put chrome fittings on it, which is nice. I think I'm probably going to put a white scratch plate on it to go with the pickup, although I'm not sure. If it was, you know, they've done a lot of work on this, and it's like they had to sharpen the spoon to do the routing. So I'm not really going to go like clear. I was, you know, but I think I'm going to go white pick guard to go with the pickup. But yeah, there she is. Oh yeah, the bridge. I put these saddles on. These are different saddles. These are from a Korean guitar from the 80s, and they're like a roller saddle. And they're wonderful. They're like they really have made a difference. I put new springs on it, but I kept the old Allen keys. They're quite, you know, quite sort of hardcore. So yeah, it actually did make a difference. It did make a difference on the bridge. It gives it all a really nice smooth. It's got a real quality. You know, it's like it stays in tune really well. The strings are a touch light. They're the ones that like that Ricky sent. Thank you so much, Ricky. And they're 10 to 46, you know, and I use 10 to 52, but like, you know, this is what 10 to 46 is actually what I put on a tremolo Strat, a Stratocaster that I set up tremolo use, or a Floyd Rose guitar, which I don't own yet. Oh well, great. But you know, works lovely. And this bridge is wicked because you can top load it, and that's how it all was when I bought it, or you can go string through. And at the minute I'm string through, and next time I'm going to try top loading it again. The other Telly's top loading, and I've got nothing. Do you know what? I've got nothing against top loading. I think I've always preferred string through as like I think probably all of you guitar players do. But actually, there's something to be said for the break angle and all this. It's like somebody made a really good argument online on YouTube here for like the top loader. Jimmy Page apparently was a top loader. But yeah, I mean, my stage guitars back in the days of like the Join and Space Baby, Keith and Matt will be able to tell. I used to have two Telecasters, a metallic purple and a candy apple red, the metallic red. And the one was Mexican, one was Japanese. The red one was Mexican, was Japanese, and I far preferred it. But that was a top loader. You know, the Mexican was a string through and just was better on paper, but in actuality, the Japanese one was way better. Oh, right. So let's show you something interesting here. So utility, select, song list loading. What is it? Alloy 666 or Bon Jovi? I can't even remember now. I think it's Alloy 666, which is actually Alloy Hoof. Yeah, Alloy Hoof. This is called Alloy Hoof. Now, I'm going to show you something here, which may or may not interest you. And I'm going to show you what's going on. What are you hearing? You're hearing flamenco guitar, nylon string guitar, right? Yeah? Sort of. You're actually hearing keyboards. Okay. I'm going to pull out the keyboards and just leave the guitar. Okay. Now I'm going to put the keyboards back in. And I'm going to pull out the real guitar. That's keyboards, my man. What do you think to that? Hang on. I fucked up there. Yeah, you might like this. So yeah, that's real guitars one side, keyboards the other, blended. This is a pre-mix, so there's no like effects or anything going on, and I apologise for the quality because it's not exactly a monitor. It's coming out of it's going into the auxiliary channel of a really shit acoustic amp. Actually, I just want to rewind that a little bit. There's a nice drum fill. All right, well that's enough of that for the minute. So that's Alloy Hoof. Um, that is the first recording I've done of it. It's all right. I'm quite pleased with it. It's quite tight. It's pretty hardcore. It's there's no stupid alternate tunings or anything like that to be heavy. It's just a straight, normal electric guitar rock and roll band, bass, drums, guitar. That's it. It wasn't until afterwards, because it was the idea. Now, I actually wrote that initial riff at the beginning. I actually wrote that on the keyboard. I was sort of, because I use this nylon string sound on the keyboard all the time, and I just sort of went. And I thought, that sounds fucking lovely. I love the sound of it. And I thought, can I do that on the guitar? And it wasn't like too bad. I say fucking hell. Yeah, so I transposed it onto guitar, which that's only the second time I've ever done that writing music. The last time I did that was the song Rosary Albertido, which is the "Here Comes a Clue into Your Room." Because I wrote that one, was like. Hang on. Hang on, I can't even do it. That's terrible. That's it. That's not right, is it? Ah, that's it. That's it. I've got it. I can't do it now. I can't bloody do it. But you know the tune I mean. For some reason, that's gone clean out my head. Probably the bong I just had. But yeah, that's it's only the second time I've ever written something on the keyboards and then transferred it over to the guitar. And I was really pleased at how just easy it was. Like it just was instant. I mean, I was working out that Iguazu, Gustavo Santarella, and I was giving that a crack, and that was a lot of fun trying to get that. That was a lot of fun because it was not easy. It was not easy at all, and hang on. And you can see I haven't like got it, like, but you know, it's close enough. It's close enough that I can recognise it. And what a beautiful tune that is. I shared that on Facebook last night or this morning. But yeah, Gustavo Santarella, I think it is. It's I heard it like on the series Deadwood years ago, you know, maybe 10, 15 years ago when Deadwood was on. And what an amazing piece of music. Then I saw it on the film Babel, and then a couple of nights ago, I watched the film The Insider, Russell Crowe, Al Pacino, about the tobacco industry. What a mind-blowing film. And they use that music quite a lot in that movie. And I thought, I have to find that music. So I got the original soundtrack for that film and then found it. And what a beautiful piece of music. Yeah, so I've been listening to it a lot. And then like 6 o'clock in the morning, the other morning, and I bullshitted. I was just joking about being an egomaniac, which all of us. I mean, I'm a front man, you know, in a band. Yeah, I'm a singer, guitarist, and I've done just one and the other before. It's like just singing, you got nothing to hide behind. You have to be an egomaniac to do that shit. You have to have a massive capacity for egomania. It's just like requisite, really. Unless you're going to be like the Ian Curtis type, you know, that purposely Kurt Cobain fights against it. But even that's egomaniacal in their own way. It's like, you know, there's no escaping it. You have to be at one with it, accept it, and, you know, don't let it ruin your life. And, you know, and try to be as least repulsive as possible. You know, it's hard. It's hard. But that took like less than a minute to get as far as I got there, as you can hear, which is nothing as good as the actual thing. You know, it's a million miles from it, but it's close enough that I can recognise it. It's a shit cover version, like all cover versions usually are. You know, Heaven's Door. It's just, you know, G, D, A minor. That's it to most people. You get the occasional where it's, you know, when Dylan does it, he does it with real heart. It's really asking a lot to do a cover tune that's got heart, because the heart comes with the intent, and the intent really only exists in the writing and execution of the writing. You know, it's better to be like a Jeff Beck style solo player, Clapton soloist. Then you can put heart into other people's work, but cover versions, it's really hard to actually put heart in there and to hear it. You know what? One of my favorite cover versions, and you'll hate this, but on one of Sting's solo albums, he did a cover of Little Wing, and it's got no guitar in it at all, and it's lush, it's beautiful, it's so achingly like vulnerable. It's a little wing. It's a little wing. It's special, and it's not a very well liked tune, and it's certainly not like if someone says, "Oh, Little Wing, what version of Little Wing do you like best?" It'll be like, "Oh, Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan." I mean, it won't be Sting, but that's an example of where you do a cover version in such a different way to the original as to have heart, because you've got intent. You're doing an interpretation, and like Sting's, it's an extreme interpretation on paper. Technically, if you're going to talk about, you know, plectrum millimeters, it's a mile away. He did something with it, you know, love it or hate it. He did something with it. Those are the cover tunes that I like. I tend to do cover tunes because they're obscure. So I'll do, you know, Leonard Cohen because I feel as a human being that not enough people are into Leonard Cohen and need to be introduced to those, you know, incredible lyrics, you know, frankly. Marillion, you know, there's a couple of Marillion things that I do because, again, there's like a very lyrical complexity, you know. Yeah, there's a few, you know, like Pink Floyd, because I love Pink Floyd, and it's just so atmospheric at an open mic night. Open mic nights, I'm more tending towards things that you'll recognise, and I don't play the more extreme end of my acoustic stuff. You know, some of my acoustic stuff's very knotty. It's quite inaccessible. I wouldn't say it's accessible. You know, you have to have like an ear that's tuned to sort of my frequency. You know, like when you read when you listen to sort of like rap or, or Shakespeare, and it's not in a language you are familiar with, and you have to tune into it. It takes a little while, but once you're tuned into it, you're all right. Well, some of my tunes I prefer to wait until you're tuned in, because I do some odd things. It's like, especially when I was younger, I had very odd chord solutions. And at one point, I prided myself on being original and having unusual chord solutions. Nowadays, I prefer to attempt to be original using the same chords that everybody else does. Makes if you can do that. I mean, look, all the fucking great songs were written in pretty basic chords, like the same chords that everybody else uses. So, if you really are a good songwriter, you should be able to use G, A, and D and do a good song. So that's what I've been trying to do for the last decade. The first 20 years was spent trying to be as unusual as possible. The second, this third decade. So I'm 31 years of guitar playing this year. This third decade has been spent, more doing it like everybody else does it, but still having my own thing. And, that carries over to sort of every aspect. But, I still got my own way of doing things. Like, even going into the technicalities, like what I was saying about how I get my heavy sound, using a pedal and a transistor amp. I mean, it's like, some of them do that, not many, but, it's the way to do it for chugging, I believe. Right. I'm going to do something special for you. This is from a piece of writing called 1066, Pope versus People of England, where the author goes at great length to exposit how he believes 1066 was like a practice, a dry run for the crusade, financed by the Pope. Anyway, it goes into a lot of things. I'm going to just read a page. This is about Vikings. Hang on, I'm going to put a tune on while it's going. Just like, no, I won't. Sometime around the mid-1800s, the Scandinavian people discovered a solid lump of truth buried in the ground that once and for all confirmed to the rest of the world the proof of what they themselves had been telling, not least in their antique epic sagas, that indeed the Scandinavian folk of the Viking Age were truly phenomenal boat builders. And the discovery of a classic Viking longship, much like the dyed wool vessel sewn into the linen of the Bayeux tapestry, as it goes. The discovery was that of a classic Viking longship, much like the dyed wool vessel sewn into the linen of the Bayeux tapestry, as it goes. A hugely significant find. It recovered from the faded mist of the centuries gone by, a perfectly intact and whole vessel, which, analysed and digested by scholars and shipwrights alike, has bestowed upon us a fantastic understanding of these phenomenal craft. And phenomenal is no exaggeration. These remarkable boats could carry a couple of 100 men quite comfortably, many of them rowing with long oars with the option of a square rig sail that was the product of contact and observation in Mediterranean waters. This led to the installation from the mid-700s onward of a central keel, most often constructed in the classic Greek fashion of the ancient trireme. This gave the already clinker-built vessel huge rigidity while remaining flexible enough to be genuinely seaworthy, and allowing the employment of a central mast, which incidentally can be fully dismantled and broken down into the central hold within a matter of minutes, usually just prior to battle. This entire basic build, which was really the application of very tried and tested trireme technology, directly mated onto the swift and portable river and coast fishing boat, the Scandinavian style. In the end, it resulted in a fully ocean-going vessel that could easily make 11 knots and could easily be carried over land if need be. And most remarkably of all, on top of all that, it only had a draft of between 3 and 5 inches, and so could be taken far upriver. I mean, you could practically sail that across a puddle, for fuck's sake. I've gone off script there. But a draft of 3 to 5 inches, 200 men, in a boat that does 11 knots and can cross the ocean, and you can fucking sail in 3 to 5 inches? What a fucking incredible achievement. People can't do that now. The Vikings were incredible. So back to the text. I mean, wow, how amazing is that? Some of the better built longships really only had a draft of 3 inches. I say, come on, you could practically sail that over a bloody puddle. Oh, right, okay, so I've just said what I've pretty much written. I apologise. So in congealment, right there in the statistics, you have a craft that can carry and insert around 200 men deep in land using the invaded countries on waterways. 3 inches of draft for an ocean-going vessel is awesome, an incredibly low draft, and with 11 knots of speed gives these ships unmatched versatility for their size. And not in the least significant is that aspect of ocean going. The Vikings were almost unique in their ability to cut across the open sea. This was a truly great skill. Up to this point, even the most curious and explorative of European sailors would follow the coast as they hugged it, pretty much always keeping it out of sight, unless, archaeology later proves otherwise. Because without landmarks and the like, how could you navigate? I mean, you had the sun and the pole star, but they were weather dependent, to operate successfully. The Vikings were the first to truly venture courageously out into the open waters of the ocean, and not just once or twice, regularly. Within what is called the Viking Age, it was the longship that spread the Scandinavian peoples far across the northern half of the globe, from deep into Rus, where Russia got its name, right across Europe, through the British Isles, with the Isle of Man, an actual Viking province, on through the Orkneys, which they settled, onto Iceland, which they founded and settled, to Greenland, which they founded and settled, uncomfortably but permanently, and even on to Newfoundland, and it has just been fully proved through the discovery of a 1000 CE Viking village complete with dead giveaway iron hinges made in Viking fashion just north of New York in the USA. But for whatever reason, scholars believe that the Vikings only settled in North America for a very short period, around 10 or 20 years, and most think it was probable they were driven out by natives. The Vikings found the boot was on the other foot in this case, with the raiders for once being raided themselves. These people, the Norse, they called them the Skraelings, meaning wretches. By the vivid descriptions within the Icelandic sagas, these painted terrors of the night, these Skraelings that made life so miserable for the Vikings and their stay so brief, were undoubtedly the Native American Indians. This is surely the stuff of myth, and gives us great encouragement to know that even now, wonderful episodes from the Viking Age are being uncovered by archaeologists and historians, such as these new finds in New York. What a joy to marvel at the real epic legend that is this weird little part of the Viking Age. This surreal early venture by North Europeans into the vast depths of the New World, long before Columbus, has long been related by Norse and Icelandic storytellers with strong traditions in their sagas, one of which concerns this marathon voyage across the bleakness of the Atlantic. This is the saga of Leif Erikson, a young man who sought to match the worthy deeds of his father, Eric the Red, founder of Greenland, and quested for new lands of his own. The Viking landlords of this period were brutally simple. As far as new lands in discovered or otherwise foreign territories went, if you ploughed it, built on it, and grazed some animals on it, it was yours. It was an absolutely first-come, first-served affair, with little or no centralizing authority outside of the Norwegian and Danish kings. And their influence ebbed in relation to distance. The further away they were from events, the less control they had over them. That'll do. That's an excerpt from one of my manuscripts. I wrote that in 2011, 10 years ago. This is what I was doing right now, 10 years ago. I was poking away on this manuscript, and it's illustrated. So yeah, 1066, Pope versus People of England by T. Yarno Fox. That's my pen name. My name is Timothy Yarno Fox. Stage it's Blacktooth Fox. General use Tim Fox. As an artist, I'm Tim Fox. On the paintings, I'm Tim Fox. On the manuscripts, it's T. Yarno Fox, no Tim. So yeah, I adjust it a little bit for each discipline. But yeah, like I went to like Leeds Armory. It's like I went all over the place and took a lot of pictures and did a lot of drawings on the spot. And yeah, I did this piece of work. It's not massive. It's like 50 pages or whatever. And I've got half a dozen of these that I've poked away at over the years, but this is what I was doing 10 years ago. And, you know, I'm an enthusiastic amateur. I'm not a professional writer. It sounds good. If you're not a writer yourself, it sounds good. But if you're a writer, you know how poor I am at writing. But I can turn a colourful phrase, but that is my only skill with it. But I wanted to like round out today's stream with that, because it's like you've seen like, you know, some of my paintings and stuff. And yeah, I actually illustrated that manuscript. So now you've heard a bit of what I write, you know, what I do as a historian. And I'm happy to share it. Right. So I've shown you the new acoustic. Very happy to show you that. Beautiful. Really so pleased with this. And I'll be recording with it probably today. I'm going to do some recording today. Yeah, that's why you don't see much of me, to be honest. If I've got the energy to play like I have today, because you know, my health doesn't always permit it, unfortunately. I tend to get into that studio, and yeah, I'm glad to show you there, alloy hoof, bit of the fruits of what I've been recording, and yeah, the new guitars and whatnot. I had to recut the nut on this, like an idiot. I chipped the one that I was getting out, and so I just recut it. So it's not perfect spacing, but I did my best. But yeah, wonderful, that Telecaster. Very glad to tell you all about that. All right, so I'm talking to a brick wall, I think, but I've enjoyed it anyway. I'm not sure. It looks like there's one or two people. I can't tell really. If there's someone there, say hello. Big love to you. And not seeing anything in the chat. So any questions, just whack them in the comments. And check out Malco's channel. And look out for Gorilla Gig podcasts. Now that, you know, I've got a guitar. So you'll be seeing videos of that. And wish me luck at the recording. And if anyone wants, you know, to know any more about the writing or anything like that, you know, just hit me up and ask. All right. As always, a real pleasure. I shall do my very best to see you next Tuesday lunchtime. But hopefully there'll be some videos before that. All right. Big love, everybody. Stay happy. Stay healthy. And yeah, look after yourselves out there. Yeah, like I say, I'm growing mint and I'm growing dill on my windows.